Hey there, I'm Michael Williams, your island chef. Welcome to my kitchen. On today's episode, holiday cheer. All right, so what we're gonna do a crown roast of pork. I'm gonna show you how to take care of it just right. We're also gonna do a roasted yam and pretzel bun stuffing and put those two things together. And then we're gonna finish it off with Jen's Chocolate Kiss, a super tasty, wonderful drink. All that coming up on today's show. All right, so here it is. Look at this, beautiful, hey? This is our crown roast of pork. Now, it comes from the grocery store, the meat department, just like this. You may need to ask for it special. It won't always be on the shelf, but you can always phone down and say, I'd love a crown roast of pork. Can you do one for me? They'll do it up. You can do this up real simple. Just, drizzle some oil all over, season very liberally, salt, pepper, maybe some garlic powder, some granulated garlic, paprika, done, ready to go in the oven. We would roast this off, 390 for an hour and a half or so. And that can be it, and it comes out beautiful. Really nice presentation, but we're gonna do things, take it up to the next level. So what I wanna do here is I wanna clean the bones. We've got some meat that's still on the bones. They've done a pretty good job of cleaning them off, but if we take our knife and just scrape like so. So you see I've got my knife on pretty much a 45-degree angle, and I'm putting some decent pressure on it so that I can remove that connective tissue. And the whole purpose of this is just for a really nice presentation. When we remove all of this, or I should say if we didn't remove all of this, then we would end up with, some inconsistency in how the finished roast looks. But when we clean these up, and then the next step is to wrap some foil around them, and then we roast it. When we take it out of the oven, the bones are very nice and beautiful. They're just a perfect color, and it makes for a really nice presentation. This is kind of, the high-end kitchen way of doing a roast such as this. So if you have the time, if you have the desire, go for it. If not, it has no impact whatsoever on the end result of the flavor of this beautiful cut. So up to you. Do you want to do that extra work? Do you want to put some love into your crown roast of pork? I'm showing you how. This is how you do it. If you don't have enough time, all good. So, as you can see, it's a bit of a process to do this, but I love it. I love this kind of thing, especially when you can put something really beautiful on the table. Bringing people together with food, that's one of my biggest passions. And so again, let's move on to the foil now. We've done a few here. I've shown you how that process goes. So tear yourself off a piece about so wide, and then tear off another piece from that. And then what we do is just wrap up the bones like so, and then fold the top over. You just wrap it up like so, like 1 or 2 layers is all it really takes. And I don't know whether it actually makes a difference, but reflective side out to reflect the heat away. That's what they say. I don't always trust them, but sometimes I listen to them anyways. Them. Oh, I just pulled that one off. Put that back on. So that's the idea. Once you've scraped all the bones, wrap them all up, we're now ready to oil and season our roast. We're gonna leave it as is for this particular demonstration, and we're going to make sure we liberally season and oil our roast. we're gonna use some Chinese 5-spice here. Really nice flavor with pork. And again, nice and liberal. Because we're not just, you know, seasoning the outside, we're in essence seasoning this whole roast, because each bite we take is gonna have to be balanced out with the spices from inside out. So you gotta go heavy when you're seasoning a roast like this. And then a little bit of pepper and we're good to go. Did I say a little bit? I think I meant a lot. So that's the idea with the roast. It could be, you know, as simple as that. You could not bother with scraping the bones and the foil. We could have just seasoned it up like so. And again, into it, 390-degree oven, 380, 390 is fine. Hour and a half. If you need to, if you want to, you can stick a probe thermometer into it to get an accurate reading of the temperature. Medium well is good for pork. So let's just put this aside for now. I'm gonna wash up. And when we come back, we're gonna move on to our stuffing recipe, the roasted yam and pretzel bun stuffing. Oh, it's so good. All right, let's get rolling on our stuffing. We're gonna start off with a little bit of celery and onion. I'm just gonna chop this up like so. Some sliced celery, some diced onion, some garlic. We're gonna get that frying in the pan, get things moving. And then once we get them kind of underway, we'll get our yams into the pan as well. We wanna soften the yam up a little bit so that it has a chance to get cooked all the way through. Okay, so I'm not gonna be too precise here. Just kind of diced like so. Get down to that end, flip it over. And half of an onion here, that's gonna be lots. So we could now get that into the pan. All right, so our pan is warming up here. I'm gonna put in a nice big knob of butter. We'll get in our celery and onion into the pan. And get that process starting while we chop up our garlic. Okay, so we'll grab about 4 cloves or so here. 4, 5, 6, I don't know. Do you like garlic? I do. That's why I grabbed 6. So I've got 6. You could do less if you wanted, but I'm not going to because I really like garlic. Okay, once you get them separated, we're just gonna roughly chop this. We don't need to chop it too fine because we're gonna add it right to the pan with our veggies here. We'll have nice big bites of garlic in our stuffing. Oh, it's gonna be good. I keep losing cloves here. I just lost 2. Make up for the casualties here. As I said, we'll just give these a quick chop. So, just like so, that's all it takes. And we'll get that in the pan and then we'll start working on our yams. All right, so we're ready to get our yams in there pretty quick here. I'm just gonna trim the ends off. I've washed this really well. I don't tend to peel my yams or sweet potatoes or potatoes. I just clean them really well. Tend to buy organic. And all we're gonna do now is cut this into sections like so. So now we've got, you know, these cut this way. We'll cut them this way now. And then this way. And then we get these nice little bite-sized pieces, which we can get into our pan soon. We'll finish cutting these guys as well. Doot, 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 doot. Beauty. Okay, so our yams are ready to go. Our pan's not quite ready for it, so let's just get our rosemary ready as well. I'm going to get rid of the heavy stems. That's the whole purpose here, is getting rid of those, you know, the stems that you don't want to have to bite through. And then we'll give that a couple quick chops. Let's take a look at what's happening in our pan. Okay, just give that a bit of a stir. We've got some nice caramelization happening, which tells me we're ready for our yams. So I'm gonna go ahead and add those in. And then we're probably another, 4 or 5 minutes, just so we can get a bit of a head start and get those yams starting to soften up. In the meantime, let's get our pretzel buns prepared. All right, so pretzel buns. Get ourselves a bowl. Get ourselves a bread knife. What we're gonna do here, we're gonna cut our bun in half, like so. And then we're gonna cut it into thirds this way. Okay, and now, this is where a good bread knife really comes in handy. If you are that person that's got that, 30-year-old bread knife that's been crashing around in the drawer for, well, the last 30 years, might be time to think about a new bread knife. Because a new bread knife is delicious. All right, and we'll do our other one too. So 2 pretzel buns here. These are the Portofino pretzel buns, nice and tasty. Okay, so this is gonna go into our mixing bowl. Our mixture on the stove almost ready to go. Our pretzel buns cubed nicely. What we need now is some eggs and whipping cream. A little bit of whipping cream for some richness and moisture. And the eggs are gonna help bind it. So, let's crack 2 eggs into there. And we're gonna give a splash of whipping cream as well. Probably a couple tablespoons. Let's go 3 tablespoons. How about that? And we'll whisk that up with our fork here. What I'm gonna do with this is just turn that off and let the residual heat do its thing. So just make sure those yolks are popped. There we go. Incorporate the egg into that whipping cream. That should do the trick. Pour that right into our bowl here. So our mixture here, add our rosemary in, give that maybe just a minute or so to roast. Bring the flavors out a little bit. Oh, this smells fantastic. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is incorporate this into our mixing bowl, mix it all together, season it, and our stuffing is gonna be ready to go. Okay, so we'll get this into our bowl. And then we're gonna mix that all up with some seasoning, as I said. Beautiful. Some salt, pepper. Always gotta have pepper and salt. There we go. Cinnamon. I was fairly heavy-handed there, as you saw. I really like cinnamon in this recipe. And now we just want to mix that up really well. And this kind of thing, I tend to just use my hands. It's so much easier to use your hands for this kind of a thing. But if you're not cool with that, use your spatula. It's okay, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? Gotta do what's right for you. And once it's really well incorporated, I wanna make sure that liquid kind of gets absorbed into the bread. And quite often with a stuffing or a dressing, you'll use dry bread. Totally fine to use some stale bread or cut the bread into cubes and then dry it out a little bit. And then you can incorporate even a little bit more moisture into it, or like chicken stock or something to really get the flavors going. But the way that we've done it here turns out fantastic. So this is now ready to stuff. But this is also a standalone recipe, standalone delicious recipe. And we could just toss it into this casserole dish here and then bake it in the oven by itself. But we're gonna stuff. So, all right, let's do this, folks. Our roast, our stuffing. Remember I said hands? Guess what? I'm gonna use my hands. Especially for this particular procedure, it's really nice to use your hands and really get it kind of packed down. And we've got some extra here, so I'm just gonna kind of spill it in behind the roast like so. Oh man, this looks awesome. So now this is ready to go in the oven. And because we're doing the stuffing here, probably gonna go a little bit longer than that. Hour and a half, maybe just a touch, maybe not, we'll see. But that is now ready to go into the oven. First, I need to wash my hands. I actually have, sitting in this nice warm oven, not too hot, just a warm oven. Got one done already, look at that. So, oh, that smells so good. Smells so good. Okay, this, as I said before, let's get this onto the cutting board. Let's remove our little foil protectors, and you see they've maintained the integrity of our bones, which has allowed for a beautiful presentation. What do you think, folks? Is your mouth watering yet? Mine is. I can hardly wait to cut into this. So as you can see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pieces that we could cut this into, in essence. And hey, there you go, beautiful crown roast of pork, ready to cut into it. Oh man, does that look good. Perfectly cooked. Gotta remove the string, however. So I'm going to grab that just to make sure. And I'm just gonna dig right into this. We've got some stuffing that's fallen down. It's delicious. Viking style. Yum. This is what I'm gonna be doing for the next little bit. Stuffed crown roasted pork. You think I can get through that? I don't know. I'll try. Coming up next, Jen's chocolate kiss. Jen's chocolate kiss, delicious. All right, so we're ready for the final installment of our holiday episode. We're about to make a very special drink, very delicious, very special. Me and my lady Jen had a great weekend in Souk just recently, and we happened to stop in at Sheringham Distillery and had a fantastic tour with Jason, and he suggested that his dark chocolate vodka would be so delicious, or that it is so delicious in hot chocolate. So we concocted a drink, fantastic, and I've now coined it. It is Jen's Chocolate Kiss. So we're gonna put that together right now. First thing we need to do is melt some chocolate into some whipping cream. We're gonna make a ganache so that we can then incorporate that into our hot milk. So let's get some Callebaut dark chocolate chopped up right now. Okay, so we're just gonna get some pieces cut off here. And instead of cutting it off in one big chunk, I'm cutting it like so that it melts easier. We're gonna get that into a mixing bowl. Certainly don't want to waste any of that. And we're gonna add in our whipping cream. About equal parts, roughly. I mean, you don't really need to measure it. You can make this up, this ganache mixture, and if you don't use all of it, that's fine, because it will last. That's gonna go now onto a pot. This mixing bowl sits beautifully on this pot. I've got a little bit of water in the bottom of it, and we're just gonna let that simmer, and the steam will melt the chocolate, and we'll stir that into the whipping cream. We're also gonna get our milk warming up in our other pot here. So I'm just going to get that to a simmer. That should be good. And now what we need to do is make some espresso. So if you have an espresso maker, great. This is my espresso maker, the AeroPress. I love this tool. So however you can make espresso, make it. You need your espresso for this. So just waiting for the water to boil there. In the meantime, we'll make sure we're all ready. All right, so our water's hot. Let's make our espresso. Okay, with your water just off the boil, the barista way to do this is just to put a little bit of water in there to bloom the grinds. Stir in a little bit of water. And then we let it sit for about 30 seconds or so. And then we pour the rest of the water in. We're making a few shots of espresso here. That should probably do the trick. Give that a stir again, make sure that there's no clumps and that the water is able to envelop all of the grinds. Perfect. Got our filter wet. On goes the cap. And then we'll be ready to press this in about a minute or so. Take the opportunity to stir our chocolate while we're waiting for our coffee to finish brewing, our espresso. So we want to incorporate that chocolate into the whipping cream. Oh yeah. We're gonna use all of this. Ooh, it's gonna be good. Okay, so that is fully incorporated. I think our coffee is ready to press. So we're just gonna press that into our cup here. And when you press it, you don't just push right through, just nice gradual pressure. Let it do its thing. Take about 20 seconds, maybe 25, maybe 30. And the finer the grinds are, you know, the more, a little bit more force you need. Okay, so. All right, so we'll add our espresso to the blender. Add our milk. I don't think we'll need quite all of that. That's probably good there. Add our chocolate. Add our Baileys. This happens to be salted caramel Baileys. A little bit more. And then the dark chocolate vodka. Oh boy. This is ready to get pureed on the blender, make it all frothy. So you let that blend for a little bit, obviously to incorporate everything, but also to develop a little bit of foam, which makes for a nice kind of frothy topping to this drink. Wow, that takes me right back to the Souk Cedar house. I think I'm gonna go cozy up by the fire with this. Let's see how this tastes, shall we? Oh, so good. How cozy is this? You know, this is the perfect transitioning into the holiday season drink. And, you know, Jen's Chocolate Kiss is gonna be with me for a while. It's smooth, it's silky, and it's got a bit of fire inside of it. I like it a lot. Now, this recipe, stuffed crown roasted pork, as well as the roasted yam and pretzel stuffing. I'm gonna do a separate recipe just for that guy. All three of those recipes you're gonna find countrygrocer.com. They're there for you, along with hundreds of others. Thanks for being with us, and see you next time.
Country Grocer.